Hello everyone. In December of last year, when the Jolly Village 2024 event started, we saw the debut of Loomian, the latest event roaming inside of Loomian Legacy. And a couple hours later, its gamma was indeed found. It was this pretty simple but surprisingly effective gamma coloring of just black and white with red eyes, sort of resembling Galarian Zigzagoon. But when this gamma was found, the community was shockingly divided over it. A large majority of people actually disliked it, saying that it was yet another monochrome gamma and campaigned for it to be changed. But then another sizable portion of the community really liked the gamma and disagreed, arguing that we really haven't had that many monochrome gamma roamings, and that this was a welcome coloring. This was a pretty big deal back when Jolly Village first released. It didn't go anywhere, Gamma Loomian stayed the same, people's opinions settled, and a little over a month later, the event ended. The conversation had died down, but just a couple days later, when the Lunar New Year event released, and we saw the debut of Snikel, which, side note, is the fastest Loomian to ever get a reskin if you don't got Icicle, it actually took a while for a Gamma Lunar New Year Snikel to be found. So while everyone was waiting for its gamma to be found, somebody posted an edited version of Gamma Lunar New Year Slivice, which is Snikel's evolution. This was the alleged Gamma Lunar New Year Slivice. It is entirely monochrome. Now, they would never do this. After Bun Puff, they stopped doing monochrome gammas for the Lunar New Year reskins, since black and white is like bad luck in that culture and all that. So they would literally never do this. But forgot to mention, just like with Loomian, the community was split by this image again. There were some people that genuinely loved this gamma, and when the actual Gamma Lunar New Year Snikel and Slivice were found, there were some people that preferred the monochrome version and said that we wish we got that instead. Anyways, I digress. Let's get back to a starting point. What do I think about monochrome gammas? Well, first of all, I'm not the biggest fan of monochrome gammas. I do think that they can work, but when done in moderation. But before we can get into the specifics, we need to actually explain what a monochrome gamma is. When I refer to a monochrome gamma, I'm referring to a Loomian whose gamma coloration persists of mainly black, white, or any color in between. This can be accented by another color, like how Gamma Loomian is mainly black, white, and gray, but has the red eyes as an accent. But for it to be considered monochrome in my eyes, the majority of its body has to be black, white, or some color in between. I would consider something like Ibrella monochrome. Gamma Ibrella is mostly black and white, but it has a dark crimson tongue. However, the tongue is a lot smaller compared to the rest of its body, which is black and white. And in my eyes, it's monochrome. Now that we got that out of the way, let me establish what I think about monochrome gammas. I can like them. I think they can look cool, but they need to be done in moderation. Compared to the first half of the game, or like pretty much like ever since the Beach update, I'd consider. Beach onwards, Loomian Legacy has been more comfortable doing monochrome gammas. And again, in moderation, in like a couple like tiny batches, they're fine. But every update's been having a monochrome gamma recently. Let's scroll back to the beach, okay? There's plenty of colorful gammas here like Snaggle and Makame, Cavanish. Conky's kind of monochrome, but I personally wouldn't consider it monochrome, because again, yellow is a major color on it. But then we scroll down to Samarine. Now, this is an alright gamma. It's not my favorite, but I know people that like it, and I can see why they like it. The green looks quite nice on it. However, this is actually the first sign of the monochrome infection. It has green accents, but the majority of its body is a monochrome gray. Aside from its propellers, none of the gray on its body has a green tint on it. It's all monochrome. Then you scroll down to Polypi. Technically, Polypi was only available to actually find with Lampion Part 2, so who knows when its gamma was ready, but let's just assume that it was ready ever since the Beach update came out. That's like definitely monochrome, and the pink accents on its evolutions don't really help. Now, I personally love this gamma, it's one of my favorites, but the pink don't change nothing. That's monochrome. And then it just kept snowballing after the Beach update, dude. We have Taoshinu, as well as Lunary from the Lampion update, all monochrome. Then with Halloween, we got the Imkin line, which, yes, they got that red on them, which I could consider one of their main colors, but they have equal as much black and white. Gamma Sherbot, Gamma Krabushi, Gamma Kryptana, Gamma Ibrella, and Parasol, like I mentioned a second ago. Gamma Lantot and Lantorch, these are literally desaturated versions of the original colors. Literally, I can stick them into Procreate right now, turn on the saturation, boom, and that's their gamma form. Now, I will say I do like some of these gammas, but the point is, there's been a lot more monochrome gamma colorations recently, as opposed to more colorful options, you know? And I haven't even mentioned reskins. A lot of recent gamma colorations for reskins have been monochrome, like Lifeguard Sharpod, Rainbow Terradescent, Valentine's Antsy. But then going into the gammas that were released in the first half of the game, we really don't see anything like this. Like, yes, there's some like semi-chrome, if you want to call it that. There's some semi-chrome Loomians, but none of them are monochrome. So the only gammas that I would consider monochrome from the first half of the game is the Serenite line and the Obsidian line. Compare Gamma Embed, which is the monochromest monochrome gamma inside of the first half of the game, compared to something like Landtorch. The difference is night and day. In fact, you know Twilight? One of the most vibrant gammas inside of the game and some people's first gamma ever? It was my first gamma ever. I evolved into a Gamma T-Clips. It's a super unique gamma, and we know that it's going to be redesigned soon. And this remodel happens to be featured on Mimask's model via a mask, as you can see here. In Mimask's gamma form, the masks also change color to those Loomian's gamma forms. Mimask has 4 masks on its back, right? Duskit, Ikazune, Kabunga, and Twilight. Duskit and Kabunga gain their regular gamma colorations in Mimask's gamma form, but Ikazune and Twilight don't. Ikazune turned into this color, which is different than its normal gamma, and it was confusing at first, but then a couple months later, Ikazune got remodeled. And when it got remodeled, its gamma was also changed to match the coloration on Mimask's mask. So if we take a look at Twilight now, the Twilight mask on Gamma Mimask's back turns monochrome, implying that when Twilight finally gets its remodel, its gamma will be changed to be monochrome and not keep the vibrant green that it has right now. Why? Genuinely, why? It's so boring. The monochrome gammas can look cool, but it doesn't work if you do it for every gamma in the game. There's just been so many of them that it's just become oversaturated and overdone to make a monochrome gamma. It feels like the easy way out, you know? I don't want to put an effort to make an actual gamma coloring, so I'm just desaturate it and call it a day. Here's another example. Remember the Titans? Morphezu, Behemoth, Leviatros? Their gammas are also monochrome. Aside from the accents that are supposed to match the main coloring of the original base form, the rest of their body is entirely monochrome. And yeah, it looks cool, but at this point, we have had so many monochrome gammas, so many gammas have done this exact thing that it's just become oversaturated to no end. And on the topic of roamings, which if you consider the Titans roaming or not, that's up to you. I don't really care about the discussion. On the topic of legendaries, sure, let me quickly mention Mimask and Grimuline, which are they both have very monochrome gammas. However, I feel like Mimask has a bit more variety. Obviously, the masks have some color on them, and then also Mimask's main mask that's on its face is blue and has pink eyes, while Gamma Grimuline is just entirely monochrome with red eyes. Now, Gamma Mimask, I don't like its gamma either. I think they could have easily done something a lot more interesting, but I do think it's better than Gamma Grimuline, at least a little bit. I've obviously grown a bit fond of Gamma Grimuline, so I do like it quite a bit, but I don't think its gamma is still that amazing. Oh yeah, and Gargoyle's also monochromed. I should have mentioned that earlier. So from the second half of the game, we have the majority of the gammas that they actually ever made, and then from the first half of the game, we got, what, the Embed line? I forgot to mention Coupling. Coupling's pretty monochrome. That's a pretty steep difference. There's only like 3 that I can mention from the first half of the game, and then from the second half of the game, there's way too many for me to even list them all. But at the very least, for the most part, these monochrome gammas have at least been different than their old colorings. It wasn't hard to tell them apart, which at the end of the day is the only purpose of a gleaming, isn't it? The only purpose of an alternate coloring is to see the different coloring, and if it does that, then it's gotta be at least somewhat decent. You're entitled to your own opinion, and if you personally love monochrome gammas, that's on you, because at the very least, they're still different than their original forms. But there is one gamma that I've been saving till the very end that I think is inexcusable. At least Gamma Landtorch, at least its gamma changed to be like, it at least is noticeable. At least Gamma Grimuline, you're never gonna miss it. However, there is one specific gamma that they added with the Lampion Part 2 update that I despise. It is my least favorite Gamma in the entire game. Gamma Fenturn and Gamma Weaslin. They literally just turned to gray, black, and called it a day. That's not a Gamma that's playing around with the brightness inside Photoshop. I hate this Gamma because 1, it's a monochrome Gamma given to a Loomian that's already pretty forgettable. Fenturn and Weaslin are cute and cool and I like them, but they were added so weirdly. They were added in the Lampion Part 2 updates and they were added into the Lampion Part 1 location. So it's a boring monochrome design added to a route that you had no reason to backtrack to unless if you knew that Fenturn was there, which on the release of Lampion Part 2, we didn't. But 2, it's a monochrome Gamma given to a monochrome Loomian. It barely changes. The images on screen right now are actually flipped. The one on the right is the regular form that I brought the exposure down on, and the one on the left is the Gamma that I brought the contrast up on. You can barely even tell a difference. Now you might be looking at, okay, well there's Taoshi and Taoshinu that are both pretty simple and they turn monochrome, but there's a difference. Taoshi and Taoshinu had color. Fenturn doesn't have color. It's like if they gave Kitone this Gamma coloring. That would be a terrible Gamma! Oh wait, they did. But they could only do it when there was another color to offset it, so it at least was different enough to look cool. If Gamma Kitone was literally just this, that would be a terrible Gamma. If Gamma Fenturn was just this, that would be a terrible Gamma. Oh wait! And I've seen some people counteract my argument with, oh, but it's supposed to look like a suit. Really? Cause look at Weaslin, it's already wearing a suit! I genuinely don't understand the thought process behind this Gamma. Like, it doesn't look like a reference to anything. At least with Gamma Grimuline, it looked like Galarian Zigzagoon. That's a reference, okay? I can get behind that, okay? That's actually kind of cool. But what's this? A suit? I genuinely don't know. And when I tried asking around to see what people thought of this Gamma, to see if maybe it wasn't a hot take from me, people actually like the Gamma a lot. And I just can't wrap my head around that. Genuinely, how? I don't understand how this opinion of mine is a hot take. I have a lot of Loomian Legacy hot takes, and some of them, okay, they deserve to be flamed, okay? And I will respect you if you like Gamma Weaslin, but I just can't wrap my head around it. Anyways, I digress. Obviously, this video is like super exaggerated. I don't like huff and puff every single time I join Loomian Legacy, like, oh, I hate monochrome Gammas. No, obviously not. But I do really wish that some of these monochrome Gammas weren't the way they were. And this video serves as my call to Llama Train Studio to please stop making monochrome Gammas, or at least like make less of them. I don't want any of the Gammas I mentioned in this video to change. That would just be a hassle, I'm sure of it. I don't want that. But I did make this video to kind of say to the Llama Train Studio, hey, I want more Gammas similar to what we had in early Loomian Legacy. These Gammas would be so wild, and yeah, some of them didn't really work that well, but the ones that did work, they were vibrant and they were colorful, and I loved them. And I know many others love them too. So please try to make more Gammas like this. Snikel is a good step in the right direction. You could have very easily made it monochrome and you didn't, and I appreciate that. And this is also my call to please not make Twilight's remodels Gamma monochrome. Please, I'm genuinely begging here. Please don't make it monochrome. Technically, we don't even know when it's gonna be added, but please don't make it monochrome. And now that I got that out, I should also mention that this is not meant to be a hate video to whoever makes the Gammas in Loomian Legacy. That's not my purpose with this, obviously. Technically, we don't even know who makes the Gammas for Loomians. Like you'd assume it's T-Radom or the original designer, but like Jamie of all people made the Gammas for Malevolwax and Halloween Elephage, so who knows? It just seems to be completely random. My point is, this isn't meant to be a hate video towards whoever made the Gammas for the Loomians mentioned in this video. It's just like a request from me for future Loomian Legacy updates. Thank you for watching and have a great night.